Hay investigadores que son poco conocidos y que han hecho grandes descubrimientos relacionados con la manipulación extraterrestre hacia la humanidad. Uno de estos investigadores es Nigel Kerner. Lo extraño es que no hay información de su biografía. Por mucho que he buscado por internet, no hay nada sobre su fecha de nacimiento ni la fecha de su fallecimiento. Solo se sabe que falleció el año pasado, en el año 2022. Pero no se sabe nada, ni de las causas ni del lugar de su fallecimiento. No hay nada, solamente se sabe que participó en numerosas entrevistas de radio y que solamente escribió 3 libros. Su primer libro fue El sonido de los grises o La canción de los grises, publicado en 1997. Este trabajo serio sobre el tema ahora se destaca en todo el planeta por su visión radical sobre el fenómeno ovni. Su siguiente libro fue Los aliens grises y El robo de almas, y el último, publicado en el año 2022, antes de su muerte, titulado Alienígenas grises e inteligencia artificial. Es una trilogía sobre el fenómeno ovni y sus repercusiones sociales en la humanidad. Sus libros y numerosos artículos han establecido su tesis única como parte del canon de la literatura seria sobre el tema de los extraterrestres grises y el robo del alma humana. Nigel Kerner vivía con su esposa y su familia en su finca en el centro de Inglaterra. Tenía un interés apasionado en proyectos en nombre de los desfavorecidos de las naciones en desarrollo. Estaba trabajando con su familia y un equipo de amigos y voluntarios europeos en un proyecto médico y de desarrollo agrícola realizado en nombre de los pobres rurales en un país del lejano oriente. Este trabajo ocupaba gran parte de su tiempo libre. Sus libros explican cómo los grises son robots biológicos, son biomáquinas, seres sintéticos enviados para recopilar información sobre las almas humanas y la conciencia natural. Muestra cómo los grises han pirateado nuestra conciencia para manipular nuestras percepciones y alinearlas con la agenda Arconte de robar nuestras almas. Revela cómo puedes proteger el campo de tu alma y tu conciencia de las terribles manipulaciones de los grises. Lo malo es que estos libros solamente están en inglés, no han sido traducidos a otros idiomas. Nigel Kerner descubrió que la mayor amenaza existencial de la humanidad es la carrera precipitada hacia un futuro tecnológicamente avanzado. Dependemos cada vez más de dispositivos inteligentes, hasta el punto de que se están convirtiendo en extensiones de nuestros cuerpos. Estamos en un punto de inflexión para nuestra especie en el que nuestra humanidad natural se está convirtiendo poco a poco en un formato artificial que nos llevará a la pérdida de nuestras almas y que los planes para este futuro ya existen. Kerner explica además cómo hay civilizaciones en nuestro universo que han desarrollado tecnologías avanzadas hasta volverse completamente artificiales. Las entidades alienígenas grises, reportadas en decenas de miles de abducciones, son robots biológicos biomáquinas, seres sintéticos enviados como sondas de inteligencia artificial para recopilar información sobre algo de lo que carecen y que poseen los seres humanos, algunos de los seres humanos, y otros seres naturales, un alma. Al examinar la evidencia científica, histórica, cultural y religiosa de las visitas extraterrestres de los grises que se remontan a hace 40.000 años, el autor reveló que los propios grises nos están encaminando hacia la inteligencia artificial desde hace milenios. Kerner muestra cómo nuestra naturaleza intrínseca como seres humanos ya no es enteramente humana. Nuestra conciencia natural y nuestro ADN han sido pirateados y se ha superpuesto una construcción artificial a la base misma de nuestros procesos de pensamiento. El autor muestra cómo nuestra carrera hacia un futuro tecnológicamente avanzado y artificialmente inteligente fue sembrada y precipitada por los grises con el fin de controlarnos y prepararnos para encajar en su agenda para la humanidad. Al revelar las colmenas extraterrestres secretas en nuestro planeta, sus conexiones con los gobiernos y su objetivo final para cosechar nuestras almas y alterar nuestro ADN, Kerner también mostró cómo, desarrollándote a nivel del alma, reconociendo tu conexión individual con la divinidad, con la fuente original, puedes proteger tu campo álmico y tu conciencia de las terribles manipulaciones de los alienígenas. En 2010 se publicó un libro del ufólogo Nigel Kerner con el título Los grises aliens y el robo de almas, la conspiración genética que interfiere en la humanidad. Lejos de ser los visitantes benévolos que muchos abducidos de la nueva era creen que son, los extraterrestres son de hecho seres fríos, cuya terrible tarea es cosechar y manipular nuestra fuerza vital, el alma humana, para propósitos nefastos y siniestros. El ufólogo estadounidense Nick Redfern describe brevemente el contenido de este libro. Dice lo siguiente: Kerner describe su teoría en el libro de que los aliens grises son robots biológicos complejos creados por una civilización extraterrestre a la que sobrevivieron durante mucho tiempo. Los grises buscan conquistar la muerte ganando lo que los humanos tienen, y estas entidades no, las almas. A través de la manipulación del ADN humano, estos alienígenas esperan crear almas en sus cuerpos y así liberarse del control entrópico del universo material a favor del reino atemporal del espíritu. Según Kerner, la manipulación genética de los seres humanos por parte de los grises ha estado ocurriendo desde la prehistoria y ha resultado en numerosas cualidades negativas que degradan a la humanidad, como la violencia, codicia, malicia. El racismo, argumenta, también fue diseñado por los extraterrestres para evitar que sus experimentos genéticos se vieran comprometidos al cruzarse con otros fuera de su influencia. Kerner creía que Jesús representaba una línea genética intacta. Ya advirtió a sus alumnos de la amenaza que representaban los extraterrestres, los arcontes, como ya se muestra en los textos gnósticos de Nag Hammadi. Mientras que el producto puro de este experimento alienígena desató un genocidio en un intento de librar a la Tierra de todos los que estaban no tocados por la intervención genética. A pesar del poder que los extraterrestres tienen sobre la humanidad, Kerner nos asegura que no se pierde toda esperanza, por lo que si seguimos las leyes espirituales luchando por la iluminación y la elevación por encima de lo material, estado que los grises no pueden alcanzar, podemos liberarnos de su poder.
The subject, he looked at the research that had been done at that time, which was quite a while ago actually, that was in the 80s. And he also looked at some reports of abduction witnesses, contactees, and so on. And he thought to himself, well, this does look as though it's a genuine phenomenon, because these are ordinary people who have nothing to gain. In most cases, of course, you do get people who want attention and will make up stories just to get in the limelight, and there's all of that. But there were also very sort of salt-of-the-earth people who had reported this phenomenon and described it in such detail. And this also of what he noticed is that those details were common amongst many different people. Also, even came from children who couldn't even know what any kind of coverage that was on the media about the UFO phenomenon, and just be repeating it, or in countries where there was no knowledge of this. So he also then he had a look at the past and the historical record of UFOs, which even in Aboriginal cave paintings from thousands and thousands of years ago, they have pictures of what they call the Wandjina, which look exactly like greys, just complete, exactly the same, no different.
Right.
And of course, as I'm sure many of your listeners know, all throughout history there has been some kind of phenomena going on. Way back in the ancient Hindu texts, they talk about vimanas, flying spacecraft,
right, exactly.
In the sky, when there was no such thing as spacecraft thousands and thousands of years ago, powered by Mercury of all things. So, and that's something actually that today many abductees have spoken about, this connection with Mercury. So he looked at all of that, and then he began to ask himself, well, if this is real, what is it? What's going on here with these sightings? Why would an alien intelligence be interested with incredible technology, as it obviously has, can travel at ridiculous speeds, way more than anything our technology can do? Why would they be interested in us when we must be, to them, a relatively primitive species?
Right.
With in terms, technologically speaking, anyway. Okay, and it just didn't make sense to him. He was trying to figure that one out. So he thought to himself, well, if they want something from our planet, then they could just take it. It would make no sense that they would appear to people, be involved with people, do genetic experiments with people. That would make no sense. So that one didn't seem to hold any water. The other possibility, well, do they want our DNA? Are they interested in us for some kind of scientific experiment? If that was the case, he thought, well, why would they continually monitor us, take fresh samples all the time? So abduction, for example, it runs in families, and the same individual also will be abducted many, many times. Why constant samples? What's going on? That one sample is enough to make a clone, for example, if that's what they're doing. So he just couldn't really make sense of what was going on with this phenomenon, which seemed to him, much to his surprise, to be true. There was definitely something going on here. So what he began to think must be happening, or could be happening, he came to that conclusion from looking at the type of being or type of entity that seemed to be visiting us, these gray aliens. So according to everyone who's had contact with them, they don't seem to have any emotion. So abductees report these experiments being done on them, and the beings conducting these experiments, they don't seem to have any concern for pain or that they're inflicting on their subjects. They seem to be totally confused by human emotion. It's just or not confused, but just it goes straight past them.
That sounds like politicians.
Yeah. You could be onto something there.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So he was so really what these entities seem to be is more some kind of biological robot. Okay, not some kind of living being like us, but a biological robot. Okay, that is just an artificially intelligent entity without any kind of awareness or consciousness, just fulfilling a program, but in an intelligent way. Okay, so that's how he interpreted what these gray aliens must be. Then he thought to himself, well, where did these gray aliens come from? What kind of civilization would have sent them here? So he looked at our technology and what we're doing now, and how we send out probes into space to find out, to go to places that we can't physically go in space and find out the nature of space. See if that's maybe a place where, if there are locations in space where if we destroy our planet, we could live. That's what people are looking at now. So if we're doing that with our relatively primitive technology compared to this incredible technology that these alien visitors seem to have, he reasoned that there must be other locations in the universe at which there are civilizations which have way surpassed us in terms of technology, and even mainstream science now totally accepts that there's absolutely no way we're the only planet with life. I mean, it would just be totally ridiculous. They have these Goldilocks zones, special areas where life is possible, and there are just millions, if not billions.
I think with James
locations.
Webb Telescope, I'm sure that's going to even open up more doors to. I've had a couple people from NASA and other places that said, 40 years ago there was just a few hundred planets that they thought there were. Now there's thousands, and now there's going to be hundreds and millions of different planets, and just a percentage of those will have the atmosphere to have life like the Earth. So yeah, it's pretty much unlimited to know what's out there.
Yeah, for sure. So to move on with that thesis that Nigel was developing, if we have developed probes, the kind of probes that they would have developed would have a technology way in advance of anything we can produce. and would be able to send out something into the universe to an artificially intelligent programmed entities who can explore locations in the universe, perhaps, where they could download what they were as a civilization. So I think it would be it would be a mistake to imagine that they're literally those beings who created the gray aliens are literally imagining that their physical selves, just as our physical selves now, would exist on another planet in their current state, because they wouldn't be able to travel those distances. So even to get to the closest planet to Earth would involve traveling at light speed, beyond the speed of light, and any kind of natural physical life would be destroyed. Okay.
Wow.
So just as unbelievably, and this is, I've spoken about this before on various radio shows, because it really does blow my mind that people imagine that they can download everything they are as a consciousness onto a hard drive, and I believe there are some organizations which are doing that for people now, that they record their thoughts, their awareness, they take recordings of them speaking about their lives, put it all onto a hard drive, and people imagine that they will go on and live on beyond death in that kind of software program. Okay, so it's Nigel's belief, and mine also, based on what I can only see is reasonable logic, that program would have no awareness, no consciousness. There would be nobody there to be aware of it. It's just a program like a hard drive that you have on your computer.
Right.